Hey guys, and welcome. First one of these, so bear with me. This is my first time doing it. All right, we're going to be starting with 11-1. As always, our first thing is our warm-up. So what we're going to be doing is our 24 today is 12, 6, 6, and 2. And for those of you who haven't done it, you have to use each number by adding, dividing, multiplying, or subtracting, using all four numbers, not using them twice, to equal 24. An example for this, and if you don't want that example, you can pause it right now to come up with your own, is we can add, we can divide 6 divided by 6 equals 1. 2 times 1 equals 2. And lastly, we take that 2 and we go 2 times 12 equals 24. You can see we've used all the numbers and it equals 24. So, if you want to pause it right now so you can come up with some of your own, please put it in the comments if you get that, and we can discuss them. So to take this even further is what I love to do is make this into a fraction. So if you want to think of this a different way, I was going to show you an example of what you might think of a fraction, and this is going to go right into what we're learning during this unit. So we can take 12 times 6, which is 72. Now, we're going to divide 2 divided by 6, which equals 1/3. Now, we take 72, which, as we're going to learn, 72 over 1 is that fraction, and we times it by 1/3. That equals 72 over 3, which is the same as 3 divided by 72, which is 24. Neat way of introducing fractions and things like that. So, for today's lesson, we're going to be learning about how division and fractions are related. So, what we're going to look at is all division problems can be made into fractions, and all rational numbers or whole numbers can be made into fractions. They might be big fractions, they might be kind of crazy fractions, but they can be made into fractions. So we can look at that right now, just like with a whole number of 3. We can make that into a fraction, and we've talked about this. So 3 into a fraction would be 3 over 1. Simple enough. Now, when we start getting into a little more difficult, and if you want, I'll write up a couple so you can do these real quick. Try to make these into fractions. So I'll give you a little time now. Okay, you can always pause the video if you need more time. So 10 would be 10 over 1. 5, same thing, 5 over 1. Therefore, we can make any, whole number into a fraction. Now, with that being said, we're going to go into our next part, which is that division problems are also fractions. So we can look at that very carefully. We have 6 divided by 2. We know that equals 3. Well, another way we can write that is this. Okay, same. But if we look at 6 divided by 2, we can actually put 6 over 2. This fraction is the same as these problems, which this also equals 3. So that's kind of the start of it. Now, it can go the other way too. So we can go 5 divided by 9. Now, this might be a little interesting because we have 9 divided by 5 this way. we're going to get into some decimals here. But there's another way we can write it. We can write this as a fraction. So if we divide 9 into 5, well, we're going to have to, get our decimal here, put a 0 down. So 9 into 50 would be 545, and that's going to keep going on. But that's not what we're going for. What we're going for is see if we can turn 5 divided by 9 into a fraction. And what it is our first one here, when it's written this way, goes on top. So our numerator. The 9 goes on bottom, or as my class knows it, the denominator. So the 9 goes down below. Therefore, we have 5 ninths. So 5 divided by 9 could also be stated as 5 ninths. They're related. So we know if we write it this way, our first one is going to be our numerator. Our second one, which is the 9, is going to be our denominator. And the same here. If we have it, the box inside and outside, or outside the box is going to be our numerator. The inside the box is going to be our denominator. Or excuse me, opposite, guys. So this is our denominator, this is our numerator. So I've got a couple that I want to have you try. And just write it up, quick assignment on this. So see if you can do it. The first one is going to be 7. Remember, you're going to try to write these into fractions. What does it equal? What is an equivalent fraction of it? This one we have okay. And this next one, writing in different forms so you guys can see that. Reminder on this one. You can still write it. It's going to be an improper fraction, so I want you to try that. And actually, I'm going to switch that. Let's switch the 2. So 9 goes on the outside. Now it's not an improper fraction, so that should be easier. The last one, we're going to go another one like number 2. I want to go... As always, remember, if you can reduce, please reduce. So that's the start of this. Again, guys, this is 11-1. We're dividing and multiplying by fractions, but this is the start. So until I see you guys for 11-2, we'll talk to you later. Hopefully you're doing well. I hope to see you guys here shortly.